Welcome back. I have a super exciting series for you coming. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to call it yet. I'm going to let it happen as it happens. But today's video, we're going to be talking about how society has ruined the human psyche. And to do this, I want to introduce the gentleman. You may have heard of him, you may have not. His name is Fridrich Nietzsche. Fridrich Nietzsche, born 1844 in Prussia, modern-day Russia, was a philosopher, and he specifically studied Western philosophy. But more so than studying, this man laid out the mat for what America is today. And he was right. Don't believe me? Go do the research. See for yourself. I got a quote here for you, speaking from the man himself in his own time period. My time has not yet come. Some are born posthumously. I should regard it as a complete contradiction of myself if expected to find ears and eyes for my truths today. The fact that no one listens to me, that no one knows how to receive from me today, is not only comprehensible, it seems to me right that it is so. So basically what he's saying is, nobody understood what he was talking about back in the day because they weren't even to that plane yet. They weren't evolved enough to even hear it out. So he didn't have a ton of following then, but people are catching on today and seeing just how profound his work was. And it's truly amazing. If you go do the research, you will see how on point he was with what's happening today in this society. It's amazing. Okay? But I'm going to be using a lot of his quotes and some of his viewpoints. But let's get back into it. So, civilization. What is civilization? Civilization is basically the coming together, the community of people. You know, a lot of people back in the day, they didn't have thousands and millions of people in one area. They had small tribes or even families that just ran around and survived. They had to survive, you know. People were more animalistic. They had to run around and eat what they could, have shelter where they could, you know. We were way more likely to adventure, and, you know, like your back was against the wall. There was that rush that I'd survived. And you ever seen The Croods? The Croods is a good example. It's a kid's movie, but it's a beautiful picture of what life was like back in the day. Okay. And you know, we always view our humanity, you know, humans, we always view ourselves as atop of the food chain, on top of the pyramid of Earth, you know, but it wasn't always like that. You know, civilization made that more possible. You know, more minds came together, things evolved faster. It's beautiful, but it came with some negatives, and that's what I want to talk about today. Now, before I just get negative, we are going to be coming out with a new video soon about the positives. So stick around. So, why? Hold on. So why is humanity atop the food chain? Is it the technology? Is it the cars? Or is it maybe morality, and, you know, we have a rational mind? That could be something. Keep in mind. You know, let me know what you think. So we're moral. We have morals, generally. Maybe not as much as we should, but generally, and we can rationally think. Okay, so that kept humans alive for a long time. But what's it doing today? The question I want to know is, why do we suffer so much today? You know, we used to have to sleep in caves and wear woolly mammoth clothes, and, you know, you didn't know where your next meal was until you found it. Now you run to the grocery store and that's it. But why do we suffer so much today? It seems like our suffering has increased. What is that? What is that? What is that, man? We got to put our finger on that, man. Like I said, you know, we used to be half animal. basically. We had to run around like animals, eat like animals. You know, the red tooth, red claw saying? That had to be us to survive, right? Survival of the fittest. You gotta eat, okay? But as we evolved into a civilization, there was new things. There was new criteria. You had laws. You had punishments. What did these do to us? What did these do to our psyche? Okay? These new laws and rules. Let me bring you another quote. The man who was forced into an oppressive narrowness and regularity of custom. So the man who was forced into basically following something and, you know, being monitored in that following, back into the quote, impatiently tore himself apart, persecuted himself, gnawed away at himself, grew upset, and did himself damage. I see a lot of that in this world today. With him was introduced the greatest and weirdest illness, from which human beings today have not recovered, the suffering of man from his own nature, from himself, a consequence of the forcible separation from his animal past, a declaration of war against the old instincts, on which, up to that point, his power, joy, ability to inspire fear had been based. So basically, we came from a place of survival. You did what you did to eat and make it, live another day, to now you have to follow these rules and regulations. And with that being said, you had to suppress things, and that built a shadow. When you suppress these animal-like instincts, these cravings to be exhilarated and survive, you're just filling your subconscious. You keep pushing it down. You can't act out. You can't get in trouble. It comes with backlash. And when that backlash happens, it's usually not good. Okay? You know, these things kept us alive, but now we're told to tone it back. Okay? We turned it, quote, we turned self backwards against man himself, unquote, creating the bad conscience or the will of self-torment. So when you push these things down, you are tormenting yourself because you're not living out this part of your psyche. You're just pushing it down. It's self-hatred, basically. Quote, to call the taming of an animal its improvement is in our ears almost a joke. Whoever knows what goes on in menageries is doubtful whether the beasts in them are improved. They are weakened. They are made less harmful. They become sickly beasts through the depressive emotion of fear, through pain, through injuries, through hunger. It is no different than the tamed human being. Man. So as these are suppressed, you go through depressive states. You live in fear of being in trouble. You get hungry because you want to unleash this beast in your own psyche. The psyche that kept us alive for thousands of years. Moving on. Again, I want to say, civilization was definitely needed to evolve. But the way the civilization was built, the way it had to be built, made us more herd-like people. And when you're in a herd, you need a shepherd. You need a leader. You need to weigh your hat on somebody. You need somebody else to control you. There's problems with that. There's a control problem in this country today. And it's been in this country, in this world. I'm not just picking on America. This is a world problem. It made us rely this way of living, you know, with the rules and regulations. It made us rely on our consciousness, being consciously, you know, you eat and you look at your clock to see how long you're eating because you're at lunch. You have to get back, you know? So you're consciously having to live your whole life. Everything's planned to a T. Everything's watched. You're real careful. More suppression, okay? Nietzsche says the consciousness is our weakest and most fallible organ. We observe and dissect every moment of our life, creating doubt. We create doubt within ourselves because we can't live the way we crave to live. And you could say you don't have these cravings, but that itself is suppression. This is in our human DNA, okay? He has lost and destroyed his instinct and can no longer trust the divine animal in yourself, and let go the reins when his understanding falters and his way leads through deserts. So he can't continue to lead himself and think for himself because he has all these other things going on. You're so suppressed by the system. You're so told of this is how you have to be that you lose that intuition, that divine animal as he calls it. And when you get to a tough spot, you feel like you got to get help from somebody else. You can't just make it happen. You know what Nietzsche's most famous line was? If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Not in those words, but pretty close. That guy, this is this guy, okay? Basically what he's saying is, when the going gets tough, a lot of people lay down unless they get help. It's because our divine animal is hurt, it's down. It's down and out. So we lost our instinct, okay? And, quote, society tames the wolf into a dog, and man is the most domesticated animal of all, end quote. Another quote. Once you had fierce dogs in your cellar, but they changed at last into birds and sweet singers. Basically, is what it's saying is we're no longer concerned with just, living our life and living in the moment. Now we got this technology and these jobs that you need to survive with, but really, they're just punching a clock and you're making the next guy more money than you'll ever see at this job. There's something wrong with this, It's not good for your psyche. It's not good for you to, again, suppress. All of this is suppression, man. We're gonna talk a lot about the shadow moving forward. I know I can't talk a lot about it today, but I just have to say that the beast within yourself is not buried, or it's not gone. It's not defeated. It's buried. You hold it down, and you have backlash. And people go through backlash. Mass shootings and people going crazy and killing their spouse, or fighting their parent, or fighting a teacher. These are all that beast unleashing. Because you keep pushing it down. Put a dog in a corner, it's gonna bite. It's society. It's civilization. Get in line. So what do you do? What do you do about this? What do you do about this? We're gonna talk about that in the next episode. But what I'm gonna say is, face your beast head on and grow with it. Don't suppress it. Watch it. But grow with it. It's a tough claim. The next episode is going to explain exactly how to do that. So tune in. I appreciate the listen. Subscribe. Spread the word. Peace. Much love.